Caddis Maximus here, this time with a review of the Performance Tool W2368. They call it an LED flare, but it's an LED, red LED emergency beacon. These are always been kind of neat. I've actually used them a bit because I drive around in the snow and that kind of stuff, and it's actually kind of nice to have these little LED beacons, especially at night if you have to change a flat tire on the side of the road. It really helps make sure you don't get hit. And of course I bought this one because it has this neat little mode here where it does a animated simulated spinning where it's chasing the LEDs around the edge. There's 12 LEDs, and I thought it was kind of neat. It has multiple modes from spinning to just a flashing mode here. More of a pulse strobe mode. And then a continuous on. And then it also has 3 continuous on LEDs with a lens right in the front. Anyway, I just wanted to do a review. This thing, I bought it. It was half price because obviously they haven't been selling these things. They were $10 at the store I went at. They're probably a little bit more. Some people give me a little bit of criticism about prices, but prices are always dynamic, depending on exactly how hard you're willing to work to get a good deal. A price of a tool like that video I made about the Harbor Freight versus Klein cable cutters. Those Klein cable cutters are like 35 bucks if you walk into a Fastenal, which are notorious for having like absolute 100% MSRP unless you have a business account. So in a place like that, they're going to be super expensive. But then you can hunt around places online or get local tool stores to do a price match and beat. And then you can get things like that down to $25. So it's always something to remember, is prices aren't always exactly as they seem. You just got to work for the deal. Anyway, this is what, like I said, retail 10 bucks. I totally don't think it's worth 10 bucks at all, and I would totally recommend not buying it. Just find one that's a similar thing off of Amazon. I'm sure the company that makes these it has them under 50 different brands. What I think is amusing is this is the PT Performance Tool, but it actually says Power now on it instead of Performance Tool. Actually, nowhere on the packaging does it say Performance Tool, but it's still Wilma Corp. So maybe even PT is trying to get away from their own name. Hopefully they're not switching to Power Tool because that would be a bit generic. This little thing has like a silicone overmold over just like standard acrylic. It's not polycarbonate, and I do worry about its actual overall durability. It is designed to be water resistant. This is all sealed here, and then on the back cap there's actually in-molded O-ring type of thing, although I don't know about the quality of the sealing. It does have a rare earth magnet and this little hook, but this hook is one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen, and it says that it's supposed to twist, but it has so much resistance that it is just going to break on me. So that's what I planned. That hook is just going to break. The other issue is that they have this big seam along here, which I think they did that so that the magnet wouldn't directly contact the body of the car when you're sticking it on, which kind of makes sense, so you don't get any little scratches from this. The unfortunate issue is it doesn't hold on very well at all. The magnet's strong enough, but it's actually lifted off the surface just a tiny bit and really harms its ability to stick. It'll stay if you put it on top of the car, but it will be inconsistent. If you have a dirty car and you stick this on the side, I think it would slide down. Also, they had this issue with the Chinese manufacturing. I'll do a quick look inside here. Before I do that, this is like another one of those cheesy beacons, and this is one I've had for a long time. Let me turn that off. There we go. And I always kind of like this style because it actually has a refraction, or I can't remember what that is called, but they put in this texturing that really diffuses the light from the LEDs, and I kind of wish they would have done that on this. Anyway, let me open this up. This runs on 3 AAA batteries, and my kind of issue is it just doesn't fit very well. And one of the biggest problems is that they had the circuit board screwed down via these 2 screws here. But the mold is so poor that these little ledges that are supposed to hold the LEDs are way higher than the posts. So this board would sink down really far, and all the LEDs would end up badly angled over, and it was much harder to see. So I was always kind of disappointed with that. And so if anybody ever gets one of these, pull out those 2 screws, because it was like so bad it was bending and warping the circuit board. Anyway, that's all that's inside this is just a circuit board with the battery holder and then a bunch of LEDs all attached to it and some circuits to run it. One thing I was also going to say is it's supposed to be, rain rated because you'd use this on the side of the road, presumably on a rainy day too. That's why they have this, little edge seal in there, which is just, here we go, which is just not super great. But they didn't put anything called a conformal coating. There's no kind of, spray on plastic lacquer over the circuit board to help prevent humidity and water from actually damaging the circuit board if it did leak into the unit. So it just shows how cheesy it is, and I thought for $10 retail it was outrageous. And even $5 was a little cheesy, but at least I got to pick it up locally instead of having to wait and order it and make sure that it works. It does use steel nuts inside to hold the screws, so that is at least one positive point or a positive note. And I do like the idea of the cushioning on the side because they're actually these little hollow bumpers. So even though it's a pretty brittle plastic, these bumpers, at least from dropping it, probably will end up working pretty well. Anyway, I just wanted to do this review on the emergency road beacon. These things seem to be, of this specific style, seem to be showing up in a couple like a True Values and then a local kind of warehouse store that we have here. So I just wanted to do my review on them, and I always think that this rotating strobe mode is pretty cool. Once again, I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.